Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this morning? So, let me tell you what happened. This is Friday's vlog, but it is actually Saturday morning because I went to bed as soon as I got home last night with the plan of just like sleeping for an hour. And it is currently 7:31 a.m. I slept so good and so deep. And I got up and I was like, oh my God, I slept through the whole night. I have to go do my vlog. And I woke up at like 1 and I was like, oh, just 5 more minutes. And then I woke up at like 3 and was like, oh, just 5 more minutes. And it was snowing at 3. And then I woke up at like 5:30. So I kept on waking up throughout the night. I'm trying to turn my cup around so I can listen to it. But it was a good day, nonetheless. I think I did so much that I was just completely worn out. I'm actually thinking about like when I get done with my vlog, and I'm probably not gonna vlog for a long time. This will be a shorter vlog. I'm thinking about like a half an hour or something, just because I want to go back home and go to bed. Alex has nothing to do today. He has no meetings or anything, so I'm thinking about just making this a short vlog and then going home and going back to bed, and then we'll probably get up and do brunch or something today. I don't know. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was thinking about going to Dunkin' Donuts after this and getting this brownie donut that everybody keeps on telling me about and reviewing it for my review channel when I'm done vlogging. But so what did I do today? I'm trying to act like it's still today, you get it? I got up and I had this recovery commitment thing this afternoon. So I got up and I went and did that. And then after that I got coffee. I have like so many of these Starbucks cups. I have like this down here. I need to take this in. I need to wash this. But I got coffee, and then what did I do after that? And then I had a bunch of errands to run, and then I also went to Macy's because, so I gave my lead tonight, and that's like where you tell your story at a 12-step meeting, and I had been asked by a friend of mine like months ago to do it. So I went to Macy's and I bought this like blue turtleneck sweater that's really pretty, and because I wanted to wear something to look nice. And at my home group, like we typically wear a tie when we go speak, or like, you know, dress like really nice. But this is like a Friday night meeting and it's a little bit like social and laid back. So I could get away with like dressing nice, but like, you know, casual. So I wore this like blue turtleneck sweater that I got. It's really pretty. And then it was on sale too. And then I wore jeans and these shoes that I had gotten from ASOS that I don't wear very often. These like greenish brown shoes that have like tassels on them. They're really cute. But anyway, then I came home and from shopping and doing all that stuff. There's something else that I did. Oh. Yeah, so anyway, I got home. It was just a bunch of errands and stuff like that. So anyway, I got home and I filmed videos, and I was kind of in a rush a little bit because I had to leave the house. I had to start getting ready at like 6, and I had to leave the house by like 6:30 to go pick up Tanya. And then my sponsor was meeting us at the meeting with a bunch of other friends too, because a bunch of people came to like hear me speak that we're friends with. So, got ready, did all that. Alex came home. Alex had a birthday party that he was going to with Sarah for their friend in high school, like their third friend in high school. And, so I got ready. He helped with feeding the dogs and stuff like that. And then I left to go to the meeting. He was leaving at like 7:30. So I left to go to the meeting, and then I picked up Tanya, and then we went, and I spoke. And it went well. I talked about all kinds of things I never expected to talk about. It kind of like went in a direction I didn't expect it to go into. But it was interesting because, you know, like I get in video every single day and I talk and tell stories of my life and whatever, right? But like I was really nervous. I don't know why. People were so nice. So many people came up to me afterwards and were just like shaking my hand, and they were just like so nice. People at this meeting, and this is not a meeting that I go to regularly. People were so nice. I actually spoken there before, like 3 or 4 years ago, because this guy came up to me afterwards. And oh god, this was the funniest story I have to tell you. So anyway, he came up to me and we were talking. I was like, yeah, I remember you from like this other meeting. And he was like, yeah, I can remember the last time that you spoke here. And I said, well, I was trying to remember who it was with my friend that asked me to speak. And he goes, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, I thought it was like 5 or 7 years ago. He goes, no, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, because he only has so much time. And he said, I remember you talking about your mom, like not wanting her token early because we don't borrow time in the program. He goes, that's something that I've always remembered. So I thought that was cool. And then this woman came up to me and she was like, Peter, you don't know me, but I knew your mom. And she said, I'm just trying to slide off, it's pointless at this point. She said, I knew your mom, I was friends with your mom, and she was like, your mom saved my life. And she said, and I was really good friends with your friend. She said his name, and it was my friend that died of meningitis. And I was like, oh my god, like I totally remember her, because like anytime I would see him, he would say, my friend so-and-so always wants me to tell you hi, and that she wants to meet you at some point because she knew your mom. And he would always say like, your mom like saved her life or whatever. Well, my mom had told me that, this is so funny. Okay, so my mom had told me this story. When my mom, one time when she was still drinking, she was at a grocery store and she had like 2 bottles of wine, and like she was getting like, I don't know, like, you know, some frozen dinner and then like something like that, like 2 bottles of wine and like a pack of cigarettes or something. And this woman behind her said to her, it can't really be that bad. And my mom just started crying. And so they ended up talking, and she talked to my mom about like going to meetings, which my mom had already known about meetings, but like that was like a huge part of my mom getting sober. So my mom had told me one time that there was a situation where she was like able to pay that back, right? Like it was similar to that. But she never said it was this woman. I had always just kind of assumed it was this woman, because this woman always, like, she would tell people, like, your mom saved, like, Peter's mom, like, saved my life from going back out. I almost relapsed if it wasn't for her. So I said to her, I said, oh my god, it's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. And she said, you know your mom saved me from relapsing. And I said, well, you've said that, but like, I don't really know what's the story? And she's like, well, I was like in this mall and I was headed to this bar, and she was like, I was just going through like a really rough time. And she said, and I had decided that I was going to drink. And she was like, that's why I was going to this restaurant bar. It's like a nice restaurant bar. It actually doesn't even exist anymore. But she was like, I had decided that I was going to drink. And that's not the funny part. The funny part is what she said afterwards. She said it so funny, she started laughing. And she said, and I ran into your mom, like as I was walking there, right? And she said, I loved your mom, but your mom could talk. I just started laughing. And she said, and so I'm walking with her, and she's just continuing to talk and talk and talk. And she said, and I couldn't like get away from her because she just kept on talking to me. And she was like, so I just kept on walking with her, like right past the restaurant, right out into the parking lot. And then I just like broke down and started crying. And she looked at me and was like, are you okay? And she was like, and that's when I told her what was going on, and I was honest with her. And she was like, you know, she really took care of me that day. And she said, but like, if it hadn't been for your mom's continued talking, I would have stopped and just said goodbye to her at, you know, the restaurant. I would have gone in and got drunk. I thought that was so funny, so interesting, you know, that sometimes our character defects are things that help other people. My mom got criticized a lot for talking a lot. I mean, I definitely get that from her if I get it from anybody. Although my dad is quite a talker too. So, yeah. Gave my lead. I was real nervous because it was like 50 people, maybe more, maybe 60, 70. And it was, it just was, I said to Tanya, I said something, she's like, well, I told her, I said I was completely like stressed out about it, like when I walked out there, because it was 70 people that I had never seen before. I don't know, it's just always hard for me to speak to like a group that's just like staring right at me, you know. So anyway, of course I bawled my eyes out. And so afterwards, Tanya and I and our sponsor, and then another guy, a friend of ours, and then Tanya's sponsee, we all went to this restaurant called Brew Burger. And it was so delicious. I love the fishes because they're so delicious. And I had a starter salad that was called the Sriracha Caesar. And instead of it having like a Caesar dressing to it, and like any of that kind of stuff, it had like the Sriracha dressing to it. It was like this vegetarian salad. It was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. And then I got, this is so funny, after I was just going on and on about the Beyond Burger the other day, but I got an Impossible Burger. I mean, they didn't have a Beyond Burger. They had bean burgers there. I'm not a big bean burger fan. So I got, and they had two different kinds of Impossible Burgers. One had like it had like vegan mayo, and it had like vegan cheese, and all this kind of stuff on it. And so I asked, and the other one was like this mango salsa deal dressing, and I asked her, I said, which one is better? And she said, the first one. So I got that. And then we got onion rings, these huge onion rings, all of us, to like split. But by the time that I had had like an onion ring and like my salad, like I wasn't even really that hungry. But anyway, we had such a great time. It was so fun. We just sat there and talked, and so we were there for like an hour and a half, and then yeah, and then that was it. And I dropped Tanya off. I was so tired. I kept on telling her, I was like, I am so tired. And she's like, well, sweetheart, you just got up in front of a group of 70 people and just like told your story. Of course you're tired. I just felt zapped. I felt like emotionally zapped. Like I'd like bawled and laughed and, you know, talked about stuff that I haven't talked about in a long time. And it just was a lot, but it was really good too. It was really good. And, good. It was a good evening. Tanya looked at me before the meeting started and she goes, I'm gonna announce my birthday again. I go, girl, have at it. So, cause our sponsor will let us announce it twice. There's some people that announce it every day for a week. I mean, you can do that. You can do whatever you want, right? So, Tanya was so excited, so she announced it again that she had 24 years. I'm like wide awake though. I don't really know how I'm gonna go home and go back to bed. Who knows? We'll figure it out later, won't we? So yeah, that was my day. I saw so many people I saw this couple that I'm really good friends with that I hadn't, like, I mean, you know, when you say really good friends with people, like, you know, in the program, it's interesting because, I mean, they can be people that you haven't seen in a long time too. So I saw this couple that I adore, that I hadn't seen in like, probably 3 or 4 years. And I was so excited to see them, and they were so excited to see me, and they were like, oh my God, are you the speaker? And I was like, yeah. And, then this girl that I used to know her from like when Alex and I would go out downtown, and I saw her when she first came in, and she was so nice. She came up to me and she was like, oh my God, and she was like, telling me how much time she had, like years at this point, and just a completely different person. I'm like, I am so proud of you. It just was really cool. It just was really, really cool. It was a really good experience. There was this one guy that was like staring a hole through me. I swear to God, he looked so familiar to me. My plan had been to eat healthy. My plan had been to eat healthy for like a week. Yeah, that didn't happen. Did I just pass all those Diet Coke, or Diet Cokes, all those McDonald's? I was kind of thinking I wanted a Diet Coke from McDonald's, but I guess I passed it already. I wanted something. I know I want something to drink, because this ain't cutting it. So we went through Starbucks, because Tanya was like, I really want a Starbucks before the meeting. So I had already had my coffee for the day, and I was afraid that I'd get up there and be just like jittery, you know, and like being all stressed out. So I got this decaf coffee, which they had to pour. It's cold. It's like ice cold now, but we're gonna drink it anyway, because waste not, want not. But they had to pour over. I never understand cars like that. So they had to pour over. She said to me, I said, we go through there, right? And it's like 7:10, 7:15. And I'm like, can I get a grande decaf with 2 equal? And she was like, well, we're all out of decaf right now. And I said, okay. Like, I think it's interesting you come through a coffee place and they have no decaf coffee at 7 p.m. when they close at 9, right? And she goes, we can do a pour over. And I said, sure, let's do that. And she goes, or we can do a decaf espresso Americano or something like a decaf Americano. Well, I wasn't wanting like a really like deep roast Americano. I was just wanting a coffee that I could have with me up there, you know, while I'm speaking. And I said, oh no, I said, actually, and I was just gonna get some water, and I thought, no, I want a decaf coffee. So I said, I'll just do the pour over. And she goes, are you sure? It's gonna take 3 to 5 minutes. And I go, yeah, I'm sure. And I swear on the other end, she was like, oh, okay. I got my pour over and then I didn't even finish it. It was good though, I will say that. I don't know what I'm gonna do today. Just relax. I started the pharmacist, and now I'm getting all these messages from people, like friends of mine, people from YouTube, like you guys that are like, have you seen the pharmacist? Oh my God, I need you to do a review of the pharmacist. Somebody messaged me yesterday. This kills me when people say this to me, okay? So I started the pharmacist. I just finished the first episode like not like 2 nights ago, last night, whatever. And the end of the first episode is like shook, right? So I'm like, okay, I want to finish this. Maybe try to finish it this weekend. So somebody messages me and is like, or tweets me or something, and was like, wait till you get to that 3rd episode. Well, now I just want to get to that 3rd episode. Like, that's all I care about is to get to that 3rd episode, you know? I don't care about that 2nd episode. I just want to get to that 3rd episode. I want to find out what happens in that 3rd episode. It is so good, though. So let me tell you, I don't know how much of this I told you the other day, but if you haven't know anything about this, The Pharmacist is a new documentary on Netflix. I still run into people, like my sponsor tonight, who said she doesn't have Netflix. I go, how do you not have Netflix? She goes, well, she was like, I just don't, you know. She was like, I have cable and I don't need Netflix. I was like, that just makes absolutely no sense. I go, it's $7 a month. She goes, oh, I know. She was like, she goes, I don't watch that much TV. I go, you watch TV all the time. So anyway, The Pharmacist is about this guy, and his son dies from, he gets shot while, like, during a drug deal. So he's this guy, the dad is a pharmacist, in this, like, small town in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, which is by, New Orleans, Nolans. I'm translating that if I knew how to speak, if I was down there. So he decides, because he doesn't feel like the police are doing anything. It stopped. And you guys, I'm so over this camera not beeping when it stops. Okay. So anyway, he decides that he is going to investigate his son's murder, because they're not doing anything. And he starts going into this really, like, drug-infested neighborhood, and these people are telling him it's not safe for him to be walking the streets questioning people and all this kind of stuff, right? Okay. But then he gets, like, a witness. It's crazy. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. You should watch it. It's really, really good. It kind of took a different direction than I thought it would. It was interesting because they showed the pharmacy where he worked, and it's like a small town pharmacy. And there's a sign outside that says no foul language permitted at any time while you're in the store or something like that. It's like we forget about the times of innocence like that, don't we? So I think I will watch some Netflix, and I listen to my audiobook. I have to finish Proof of Heaven tonight because I want to start Mindhunter. That's my goal this weekend. And I don't even know how much longer I have of Proof of Heaven. I think I have, well, less than 2 hours, I'm pretty sure. It's good. I'm kind of bored of it, to be really honest with you. I mean, like, it's interesting to me. The other night, so many of you guys were, like, telling me of, like, near-death experiences on YouTube. I'm kind of really obsessed with the near-death experience thing. I have to tell you, I think, like, I'm really struggling with PP's passing. And I don't even really know how to put it into words. I'm just really having a hard time. And my husband's really having a hard time. And we're just really trying to get back to normal, but it doesn't feel normal. But I think for some reason, I don't know why, and I don't think it's so much like, it's weird. I mean, with all the loss that I've had in my life, that, like, it took PP to be the one that really inspired. I mean, I didn't even feel this way necessarily with my mom. Like, I mean, my mom and I used to talk about near-death experiences back in the day. I mean, she had read the Betty Edie or Eddie book or whatever her name is, called Embraced by the Light. My mother had read the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross books and all that kind of stuff. She believed in an afterlife. My mother and I talked about that kind of stuff. But I don't think until PP passed, because I have this kind of incessant need to see him again at some point, or that I believe that he and I will be together again at some point. I don't know. I kind of think, you know, Tanya said to me, I think maybe PP was your soulmate. You know, I think in some weird kind of way, like, our souls were so connected. I just love that little dog, you know? I mean, he had so much personality, and I mean, he just was my best friend. So I think I'm finding myself, like, going through this searching again, which I've gone through at different points in my life, of trying to find out, like, what really happens when we die, you know, like, as if anybody knows. I just looked up at this thing and I realized it had, like, this building that had said something for so long, it changed, and it now says Salem University on it. That's weird. I have no idea what that means, Salem University. So, anyway, the other night after I was talking about the book, a bunch of you guys were mentioning, or a couple, one, I don't know, said that there were a bunch of near-death experience videos on YouTube. Could you let me know in the comment sections, like, which ones, like, really stood out to you, so I know which ones to watch? Because I ended up watching this episode of Oprah that had Betty Edie on it, that wrote Embraced by the Light, and quite frankly, she seems like a fake to me. She had come up with pictures and music to explain them. It just was, I don't know, it seemed fake to me. And then, she had this one guy on there. Like, his was really interesting. He had been pinned by a semi. And he went and he had been abusive to his wife. Did I talk about this on here already? think I have, maybe. And he was... So he went to heaven, and the way that he spoke was interesting, because, like, he never said, like a lot of these people, when they have these near-death experiences, it's only, like, Jesus Christ who they see, right? Which Oprah, for being a very religious person, it's even interesting, like, when she's talking to, like, this Betty woman, she's like, but is it Jesus, or is it, like, any religious figure that you relate to? So if you're, like, Buddhist, it's Buddha. And she's like, oh yes, but you can tell, like, she doesn't really understand what Oprah's asking, and so that's interesting to me. But this guy gets it, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I originally referred to it as the light, and then he referred to it as something else. Well, in the Eben Alexander book, he refers to it as at first in the book. And this spiritual, all-knowing being that really has no religious affiliation, you know, whatsoever. And so anyway, this guy on Oprah explains that when you go through and you do, like, your review of your life, which isn't part of this Dr. Alexander's experience, because he said that he had a different experience than some people would because of his just being shown certain things or whatever. I kind of get the feeling that he's kind of being nice to people that he feels like made up stuff. But anyway, he said that, you know, that he didn't do that. So this guy, anyway, on Oprah, and this very much aligns with a lot of the near-death experiences that you hear. He talked about how he had been abusive to his wife for a long time, like 30 years. Physically and emotionally abusive to her. And that when he had to do his review of his life, that he had to feel the pain that his wife felt. Like, not just feel it, like somebody showed him what the pain felt like. Like, he was his wife, feeling the pain that he had put on her. And Oprah even says, she's like, isn't that, like, a cool concept, that we would feel the pain we inflicted on other people firsthand, you know? And so when he came back, he was like this changed person, because he didn't want to be that anymore. He didn't want to hurt his wife anymore, and he had understood what he had really been doing. That was powerful. But there's so many of these near-death experiences. Plus, if you just search near-death experience on YouTube, a majority of the videos are like actual near-death experiences, like where somebody is like water skiing and they almost, like, you know, it's just like, it's accidents and stuff like that where people almost die. It's like those kind of near-death experiences. So if you put in NDE, which is like the abbreviated term that people use for near-death experience, you put in NDE, near-death experience, it pulls up a lot of them. But I don't know which ones to watch. It's like those time traveler, oh my God, at one point, I fell down the rabbit hole of the time traveler videos. They're interesting, but, like, you can tell, like, some of them, I mean, they're probably all fake, right? Like, I don't know if I really believe in time travel. I like to believe in all that stuff. You guys, I am totally that person that wants to believe in everything. I really do. Like, I listen to Coast AM, and I'm just, like, obsessed with listening to all that stuff and wanting to believe it and whatever, you know? And, yeah, I just listen to all of it. And I believe in all of it. Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Santa Claus, fairies. That's an interesting one to me. I remember seeing this documentary or movie about the, like, inception of the belief of fairies in, like, Ireland or Scotland or whatever. I had 2 equals in this coffee instead of 1. It's, like, really kind of, like, sugary sweet. It's, like, too much. But like the, what do we call them? Do we call them conspiracies? I don't think so. What do we call them? The belief in time travel is interesting to me. There's this one I remember I was watching, and it was this guy, and he went to like 3,500. Like, he went like up forward, and he was like explaining what the world looked like then, and you know, all this kind of stuff. And then there's been ones that have supposedly gone back in time. Did you ever see that movie Somewhere in Time? I should watch that movie today. That's such a great movie. I love that movie. Did you ever see it with Christopher Reeves, and Jane Seymour, where he's like an actor at this playhouse, and this woman, this old woman, at the end of the play, she comes up to him and she goes, "Come back to me." And then he goes to the Grand Hotel in, I've talked about this on here before, he goes to the Grand Hotel in Michigan, on Mackinac Island, Michigan, where I used to go as a kid. And he tries to go back in time, and it's not working, and he asks like this. I haven't seen that movie in forever. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to pull in somewhere and see if you can like actually rent it or watch it or something. I have like literally every streaming application that you can have. And you know what's so killing is when you go to look at some old movie, like I have a list I keep in my phone of old movies that I want to see. What is so killing is when you go to it and you're looking up some movie, Netflix, not on there. Amazon, not on there. Hulu, I don't even know why we got Hulu and Disney Prime. I haven't used it once. Disney Prime, Hulu, not on there. It's like, why do I even have these stupid things? You know, it makes no sense whatsoever. I can't drink any more of that coffee. It's horrible. Do any of you believe in time travel? Have you seen those pictures where like, it's like the hipster in the crowd, and he's got on like the sunglasses and the t-shirt and the sweater? That one's interesting to me, I will say. And then there's like the person carrying the cell phone. There's that picture. I'm telling you right now, if you start Googling this stuff and reading it, you'll fall down a rabbit hole. There's so much stuff out there about it. I think it's so interesting. What are you guys doing this weekend? I'm always like, whenever I get up this early, I mean, like, in all honesty, I could just stay up now, and I probably will. But, like, when I get up this early, I always want to go to brunch, like, now. Like, if I go home, like, Alex isn't going to want to go to brunch at, like, 8 o'clock in the morning, you know? But, like, well, I guess 8 isn't really brunch. It's breakfast, isn't it? That movie, Somewhere in Time, has, like, the most beautiful music to it, too. It has that Rhapsody in Blue. I love that song. I remember after I saw it as a kid, because we had, like, gone and stayed at Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel, like, once or twice. I actually remember going with my dad and my mom. So that must have been before my parents got separated. So that would have been when I was still really, really young, like 5. Because my parents got separated by the time I was like 6, like by 5 or I think like 6. My parents got separated. And or maybe before, but I don't know how I would remember it. It's like starting to lightly snow again. We did get some snow. Look, did you guys see? Just a little bit, but it's enough. It's pretty. Mackinac, so the Grand Hotel at Mackinac Island is this huge white pillared hotel, and you have to like dress for dinner, and I mean like in a tie and suit and stuff like that. And the rooms are all old fashioned. My cousin Caroline went there a couple years ago, and because like she'd stayed there as a kid too. And back in the day, like they didn't allow any cars on Mackinac Island. Everything was like by horse-drawn carriage, or you walked around. There was like a little playhouse. It's real small. Fudge shops in the town, and it's real cute, right? So Caroline has gone there a couple times as an adult. She went there a couple years ago, and she said it wasn't the same as it used to be. It just wasn't as cool of a place. I think maybe my aunt and uncle took like all of them up there. Took like Caroline and Mike and David up there or something. Because David always loved stuff like that. Speaking of Conner Prairie, that Conner Prairie settlement, David always wanted my Uncle Dave to, like, he would take him there, and he'd go, Poppy, you have to come, like, this is when he was younger, but he'd be like, you have to work, look at this. See, I finally got my snow. Look at how pretty that is. Thank you. Look at the woods over here. Now, this is who I should be right here. I should be running, but I'm not. Isn't that pretty? This is like the Indiana that I love. Look at that. So anyway, David always wanted my Uncle Dave, his Poppy, to work at, he called him Poppy, to work at Conner Prairie. Like, to be one of those dressed up people that, like, you know, takes you around or whatever. Anyway, yeah. What else? Oh, but Caroline went a couple years ago. Caroline went a couple years ago, and she said that it wasn't as good as it used to be. Like, it was kind of run down a little bit. Or something. There's a lot of places like that. Alex and I need to take more, like, just like weekend little road trip places. We used to do that so much. We don't do that as much anymore. We need to do more of that. I found this coat while I was at Macy's that I really wanted. Thank God they didn't have it in my size. Because it was, I'm just too heavy right now. But it was one of those, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm finding like all of these unique things that I have to have, and they're all of them pricey as hell. And, you know, it's interesting because I'm not somebody that's like a huge shopper. Like, I've said that, you know, before. Even like when I'm thin, like I very much like vintage t-shirts and just like, you know, nice pair of jeans and whatever. But I always have like nice shoes and coats and things like that, nice watch. And so I'm like finding that, like, I found these Golden Goose sneakers that I want. Well, these Golden Goose sneakers are like $500 a pair, right? And they basically look like worn down Chuck Taylors is what they look like, okay? Maybe a little bit fancier than that, but. And then I found, what was the other thing? There was something else in there besides that. Well, I want this Patagonia suitcase, which I probably will end up getting that because it's pretty reasonably priced. And then I want to get this, oh, it's like Marmot, it's M-A-R-M-O-T. I can't ever pronounce that name. It's like a ski brand or like an outdoor brand. And it's this really, really cute coat. So I'm gonna wait until it goes on sale this year. I'm gonna buy it for next year is probably what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm just like finding all this stuff that like I really like want to buy, but it's expensive. And I'm like, well, you don't need it. If I had slipped this coat on today, it was $175. If I had slipped this coat on today, it was so beautiful. They had one that was like red and blue, like different like stripes. And then they had one that was like different shades of blue. It was really pretty. If they had had it in my size, I would have bought it today. These construction workers working out here in 28-degree weather on a Saturday, God love them. I mean, I just drive by and don't even notice it, you know, and there's so many construction workers working outside this morning. It's like doing pavement down there. We often take our circumstances for granted, don't we? Where am I at on time? Oh my God, I said I was only going to do a half an hour and I've gone over that. I've gone over that. Well, we'll go down here a little bit further since I have talked forever now at this point. The line at Starbucks is a mile long. Where do people go this early on a Saturday? I guess they just get up and they have things to do, don't they? Go to Target. Is Target even open yet? Go to Target, go to IKEA. It's like, go little road trips out of town for the weekend. My ex and I, well, I always worked Saturdays and so did he. So, our days off were Sunday and Monday. So Saturdays, but we both got off at like, between like 3 and 4 on Saturdays. So we would come home on Saturdays and, we would go to Seymour. So we would come home and we would take a nap. And then like take showers and get like changed and whatever. And a lot of weekends we would go to Seymour, which is where he was from, and we would get a hotel room and we would stay there Saturday night and Sunday night. And like Saturday night, we would either go to the casino, which was Argosy or Caesars down there at that point. There was 2 different casinos in southern Indiana. We would go to those, or we would just go shoot pool. Little unknown fact about Peter. Oh, it's gonna stop, hold on. Okay. Little unknown fact about Peter. Peter is a bit of a pool shark. So we would either go, have my own pool stick and everything. We would either go shoot pool. We would go like to, if you're from Seymour or southern Indiana, you'll know these places, but we would like go to a Bryan Street and we would shoot pool. And there was another pool hall that we would go to. Well, that was a bar, but we'd go to another pool hall. Anyway, we'd go eat at like Applebee's or this Tex-Mex place that was called Tumbleweed. And then, or we would go to the Chinese restaurant a lot. And, where they had the hall of shame, where if you bounced a check, they would staple your check. They would cross your name out and staple, or they would cross like everything out about your check except for your name, and they would staple it to the wall. And then we would like just drive around and go see people. We'd go to Walmart. It'd be like my ex and I and these 2 girls that we were best friends with that he used to live with. And we would just like drive around town, and that's what we did. Like, I look back on that, it was such a funny part of my life, you know? Like, my mom would always be like, I mean, because she knew them, you know, and she loved, you know, my friends and everybody, but she'd be like, I just don't understand, like, what do? You like go to Seymour and then you just like drive around and go to people's house? Because we would literally, like, some nights, like, we would go out to dinner and then we would just like go from one person's house to the next and just be like, hey, we would stop there for like a half an hour and, okay, well, we're gonna, you know, go to the, because then we would like, it'd be a couple hours after we had eaten and we'd get hungry and we'd go to like the TA truck stop and we'd get like mozzarella sticks and onion rings or something, you know? It was fun, it was low key. We stayed at the Hampton Inn, right there off the interstate. Or a lot of weekends, we would, like I was talking about not too long ago, we would watch like seasons of shows. Which, like, this is, okay, so I said to my, this little lake over here is frozen. So Alex last night, I noticed that he was on season 4, like, of Schitt's Creek, episode, like, 1, I think. And I said, are you on season 4 already? Because, like, literally, I feel like it was, like, 3 days ago, he said, why don't you try to catch up with me and then we can watch it together? And I said, okay. But then I sat there and watched him, like, watch 4 episodes, and I thought, there's no way that I'm going to ever catch up, right? So I said to him tonight, I said, are you seriously on season 4 and you wanted me to catch up with you? He goes, yeah. He goes, I just realized I sat here yesterday and I watched an entire season. He goes, it's so good. I said, we need to get some shows. So, RuPaul's Drag Race is coming back on the 28th. We always watch that together, so we'll start watching that together. And then, I don't know, maybe The Handmaid's Tale or something. He doesn't really want to watch that. The other thing is, like, the things that I love to watch, he doesn't love to watch. Like, he loves to watch sitcoms. Although he started, like, he watched, like, you know, he watches some drama shows like Grey's Anatomy, but, like, he's watched that forever. It's, like, impossible for me to catch up with Grey's Anatomy or whatever. He started that Party of 5, but I was sitting there with him the other night, and if you watch it, you'll know who I'm talking about, but there's this girl, and she would have been like the equivalent to Lacey Chabert on the original one, because she's like that age. She's probably like 13 on the show, and Alex just got out of nowhere. He's like literally watched every episode. He goes, she's so annoying. And I go, what's annoying about her? And he goes, she's just whiny. She's just annoying. And I go, okay. And he goes, I go, are you done watching the show? How do you get into that Dunkin' Donuts over there? It's like all the way around on the other side. He's like, yeah, I think I'm done watching the show. I don't think I want to watch it anymore. I said, okay. I said, you've watched like 5 episodes. He is like, yeah, I feel like it was just a waste. That's why I like to binge watch shows, because I know that they're not going to get canceled mid-season, because I have this peculiar way of picking shows that ultimately get canceled, always. Like, I don't know how I do it, but I do. Like, they always get canceled. We watched a show about these witches, 2 different shows about witches. One was like The Witches of something, not Eastwick like the movie, but it might have been maybe, but The Witches of something. I loved it. It got canceled. Then we watched this other show about these 2 sisters that were witches. One of them was that Madchen, whatever her name was, from Twin Peaks. It got canceled. I loved that show where the whole town was caught in that like globe kind of thing. The Dome it was called, I think. It got canceled. That Red String Society or whatever that was called, it got canceled. I watched every episode of that. I mean, every show that I watch that I love gets canceled. I loved on HBO that gay show. Oh shoot, what was it called? It was just one word and it started with an L. Not loving. Learning. I don't remember what it was called. I can never remember anything, but I loved that show, and I was so, like, I had a TV crush on that Latino guy who he ends up with at the very end. I thought he was just such a neat guy in the show. What was that show called? I know somebody's shouting it right now at the screen. I really can't remember what it was called. I'm gonna pull in here and look, because I've got to turn around anyway. I think you guys are gonna end up getting your hour vlog tonight. Can I get out this way? I can't. I'm gonna pull in here. This bank that's closed. Was it called Learning, Loving? What was that show called? HBO gay show. Looking. Just pulled it up. Looking. That main character, too, is friends with that girl that played Rachel on Glee. Like, they're like best friends. Jonathan Groff. And then Raul Castillo, who's actually one of the only ones that's not gay on the show, he played Richie, who was the guy that I was like mildly obsessed with. I mean, I was team Richie is what. I can't believe the show is canceled. It was so good. 2 seasons. The other one that I watched back in the day that got canceled that I loved was Dead Like Me. With that girl that gets hit with the toilet from the space shuttle or whatever. Oh my God, that was so good. And then she becomes like a soul grifter. Like she has to grab somebody's soul before they die. I loved that show. Where are all those people at? Is there some restaurant in there or something? Pizza Hut? There's a bunch of cars there this early in the morning. So yeah, I always pick these shoes that end up, or these shoes. I always end up picking these shows that get canceled. It really makes me mad. Oh my God, that line at Starbucks was literally like 20 cars long. I can tell you, I would probably not wait that long. Definitely not for a pour over. Ugh. I might listen to a little bit of my audiobook this morning. Oh, she had her dog in the car with her. I need to start taking Boo Radley and Tucker for rides more. Alex and I had said, like when we were in Mexico, we were talking about things that we want to do differently with Boo and Tucker. And Alex was like, I want to start walking them. Like we can take walks with them. They're just, like here's part of the problem. They are not good dog walkers. Like they do not like to walk on leashes. But we agreed that we were going to start doing that. So that's one of the things that we're going to start doing. Plus it'll be nice for us to like in the evenings, you know, just take a little bit of a walk and talk and whatever and kind of like, I mean, we always at the end of our day, like Alex and I always sit there like when he gets home and I'm like, you know, so how was your day? And like he tells me about his day and then he'll ask me about mine. I mean, we do that every single day. We've done that for years. I think that's important, you know? We spend more time, if you think about this, you spend more time throughout the working day. Like your kids spend more time at school and you spend more time if you work like out of the home with your coworkers than you do with your immediate family. Awake. I mean, does that seem weird? That's the truth of the nature. So it's always been important for us to like catch up and like talk about what our day was like and stuff like that. So we said that we were going to start taking more walks. The other thing was that Alex said, I need to talk to Tanya about maybe bringing Boo and Tucker over to do the day, like to go to the day camp like once a week. Alex had said that like he used to give Pee-Pee a lot of rides like when he was little, and like Pee-Pee was really good in the car, like going places. Boo and Tucker are okay, but they cry a lot, and so Alex was like, I think I want to start taking Boo and Tucker on more rides. You know, get them pup cups at Starbucks and stuff like that, because I used to do that with Pee-Pee all the time, to get them like more used to, or get them, you know, comfortable with the idea of being in a car, riding in a car, you know what that's like. So I think we're gonna start doing that. Yeah. Yeah. I found this coat, you guys, look. This Ben Sherman coat that I didn't even know that I had. It was in the garage, like where my drama phone and all that stuff that I keep. It's this really nice coat. Look at this. I wore this last night. I didn't even know that I had it. I don't even remember ever getting it or wearing it or anything. I was telling Alex that, and he goes, just imagine if you cleaned out that garage, what else you might find out there. I go, I know, just imagine. Smart ass. It's kind of nice to like know that like I really don't have anything to do today. Tomorrow is the book discussion. God, it feels like so long ago that I read the book. So tomorrow is the book discussion for If You Tell by Greg Olson. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's tomorrow. Correct? Yes, that's tomorrow. So don't forget. And Mel was texting me last night books as suggestions for the March book. And she actually gave me a really good idea of a book that I think would be really interesting to read. It's about a topic that I really would like to read about. And it's a book that just came out. She's got like 2 different books. So, that she sent me, and they're completely different topics. And then I have an idea or 2 as well. So, we're gonna do those, and we'll see what comes of those. Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm gonna get off here now because this is like right around an hour, I think, and I thought I was gonna only go a half an hour. So let me get off here, and let me just say that I love you guys, and I hope you're having an amazing Saturday, whatever you're doing. I hope you're having an amazing Saturday unless you have other plans, but like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something really exciting today, or just relax like I'm going to do, and watch some Netflix and chill. That's so corny when we say that, isn't it? Do something today that will make you proud when you look back on today 5 to 10 years from now. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you do your positive affirmations and you say, I love you, you are valuable, you are important, you matter, you are beautiful, you are handsome. Today is going to be an amazing day, and 2020 is your year. And most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to somebody else and let them know how much they mean to you. Do some random acts of kindness today. Just pick somebody out and say, hey, you know what? I was really thinking about you today, and I'm really happy that you're in my life. And I appreciate you guys watching. If you've made it this far, give this video a big thumbs up, please. And I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.